Hi there, I'm Vincent Boss and I provide dating and self-improvement advice. And in today's podcast, we're going to be discussing steps to take after being dumped. I provide audio coaching for breakup recovery, trying to get an ex back, attracting someone new, and life coaching. Visit www.dateme.tips for more details. Please check your spam and junk folders if you are expecting an email from me. So now let's get back into today's podcast. And today we are discussing steps to take after being dumped. So if you have been dumped, life can feel confusing and painful. These feelings are only temporary, but it can feel a very difficult time. In today's podcast, I'll be giving 3 pieces of advice of how to navigate your way through a breakup. So let's get straight into this, and point number 1 is stabilize. Now, whatever your point of view is right now as a dumpee, whatever your thoughts are regarding the future, you must stabilize. Now, you might be very frustrated and angry with your ex. You might never want to see them again. On the other hand, you might want your ex back. You might want to get back together ASAP. Or perhaps you are somewhere in between. You're shocked by the breakup. You're feeling really hurt. But you felt the relationship was really good. And if you could get back together, then you would consider it. It doesn't matter what your perspective is. It doesn't matter what angle you're looking from. It doesn't matter what you want the future to hold. You must stabilize. And that is because when you've gone through a breakup, when you are the dumpee especially, you have an unstable mindset. An unstable mindset is not only unattractive, but it is going to prevent you from making sensible, rational decisions most of the time. That's not to say you can't make sensible decisions during a breakup, but what I would say is the chances are your mind is going to feel foggy and you are less likely to make decisions which you would think in hindsight after the event would actually have been your best choices. Brain fog, breakup recovery, they go hand in hand. And unfortunately, when you're going through the midst of a breakup, when you are feeling the pain of being dumped, you are likely to make rash decisions and you are unlikely to make thoughtful, sensible, and worthwhile decisions a lot of the time. So point number 1 is stabilize. You must stabilize your mindset. Whether you want to try to get your ex back, whether you want to try to find somebody even better, whether you just want to live a single life, you must stabilize, because you will not be able to succeed in anything you want to whilst you have a clouded, unstable mindset. As I touched upon a little earlier, having an unstable mindset amongst everything else is unfortunately unattractive. So if you want to try to get your ex back, or if you want to try to find somebody even better, you're going to be unable to do this unless you stabilize your mindset. So what can you do to stabilize your thoughts? Well, the first thing I would suggest you do is to think very, very hard before you make a decision. Like I've just said, decisions you make right now are likely to be rash. So you need to be very, very thoughtful. And I would avoid making any decisions which could be seen as life-changing, which could be seen as huge decisions to be made, such as maybe you think to yourself, right, I'm going to travel around the world. I'm going to sell all of my belongings. I'm going to get all the money that I earn from those belongings. I'm just going to travel wherever I want to go. My thoughts on this would be, it's not a good idea to sell all of your possessions at a time where you are not thinking clearly. Now, that's not to say that you can't do some traveling. That's not to say that you can't live your life and do your own thing as a single person. But if it means selling everything you own to get the money to do so, I would be very, very careful about doing this. Other examples that I like to give include getting a tattoo. If you're somebody who's never had a tattoo before, I don't suggest getting a tattoo is the right option to make soon after a breakup, because it's very hard to go back on that choice of having a tattoo. It's very difficult to remove a tattoo. And if you've never had one before, that suggests that maybe they're not your kind of thing, or certainly you need to be thinking clearly when you make that decision. Another example I like to give is if you are somebody with long hair and you think, you know what, I'm going to shave all of my hair off. Again, Think about this clearly and carefully. It will take you many years to get your hair back to the way it was. Is this really the right time to be shaving your hair off? So, yes, you need to be making sensible, thoughtful decisions. But what else can you do to stabilise your thoughts? What can you do to get to the point of where you can make those decisions in a more sensible and thoughtful way? Well, I would say you need to take yourself out of the equation regarding the breakup. And the best thing you can do at this point is to implement my version of the no contact rule. Now, if you're not familiar with no contact, this is something that lots of people suggest you do if you've been dumped, in particular if you want to try to get your ex back. However, there are many different versions of the no contact rule that you can find online, and I believe that my version will give you the best possible chance of success. So I suggest that you subscribe to my YouTube channel, ring the bell for notifications, and check out my playlist entitled the no contact rule. This will help you fully immerse yourself in my version of a rule and understand why I believe it will give you the best possible chance of success. Now, although I'm not going to delve into this right now fully, what you can tell from what I've just described this rule as, the no contact rule, is the basic principle that in most instances, if you've been dumped, I believe that you should never contact your ex again unless they contact you first. This will allow yourself to be removed from a situation. If you are not sure what to say, then saying nothing is best. You do not want to create drama. You do not want to make things worse. And when you've been dumped, when you're trying to stabilize your mindset, you need to make sure that you stop falling. It can feel like that every single day things get worse. And the best way to stop falling through a glass floor is to stop doing things in a rash way, stop doing things on a whim, stop doing things without thinking. What I mean by this is be thoughtful, take yourself out of a situation, implement my version of a no contact rule, and have some time out. Speak with your loved ones, the people you trust the most. These are likely to be your family, your close friends, but make sure that you are concentrating on you and your own recovery. Go on a walk. I would suggest that exercise is a wonderful way to clear your mind. And not only that, going on a walk will help you by, firstly, if you do it in the sunlight, it will allow you to get natural vitamin D hitting your skin. This will help you when you're trying to get through these difficult thoughts. Going for a walk is also obviously a type of exercise that will help with the positive endorphins flooding through your body, which is what happens when you exercise. And if you are going on a walk, you can also do it in a nice, peaceful setting where you can concentrate on the moment, living in the moment, practicing mindfulness. Maybe you can be at one with nature, walk around somewhere where you feel at peace, at ease. And again, I don't want to give all of these obvious kind of caveats, but I must probably say them. And that is, if it's too sunny, you want to be making sure that you are protecting yourself. But what I would say is, generally speaking, going for a walk in the sun is much better than at dark, but at night. Not only is it safer, but secondly, like I said, the vitamin D will hit your skin. But of course, if it's too hot, take some precautions. And also, if you're going to go wandering around in the countryside, make sure people know where you are going. Okay, they're kind of obvious things to say, but I feel that I probably should say them. Exercise in any way, shape or form is going to help you burn off that extra adrenaline, and therefore if you like going to the gym can be something extra good as well. But if you're not somebody who's a gym goer, going for a walk can be a great way to start your exercise. And even if you love the gym, going on a walk in the sun, in the daytime, is a wonderful way to start stabilizing your mindset. Just remember that you aren't in a race. Okay, you can't cheat grief, and that's what you're going through. You're experiencing grief, and you must go through the stages of grief. They will come, they will go, they will come again, and you are not in a race. Just because your best friend got over a breakup within a month or so, it doesn't mean that you've got to be feeling 100% in that same time frame. Most people are suffering from the effects of a breakup many months and sometimes even years down the line. You're not in a race. This is your own journey. But make sure, point number one of the first step to take after being dumped, you must stabilize your mindset. So now let's get into point number two and the second point of today's podcast about steps to take after being dumped. And point number two is plant seeds and grow. So point number two really develops onto point number one. As I said in point number one, you need to stabilize your mindset. My version of a no contact rule, plenty of exercise, going for walks. Those types of things are a great way to stabilize yourself. But then you need to start planting the seeds and growing, because growing as a person will enable you to plant the seeds of your future happiness. What you do now will not necessarily give you a benefit instantly, but they will do likely in the future. And what I mean by that is really pushing yourself to expand your horizons. I always suggest joining new classes, groups, and clubs. This will enable you to mix with new people, making new connections, learning new skills, new hobbies, new activities, everything which can add towards you becoming a version 2.0 of yourself. Additionally, like I was saying in point number 1 about stabilizing, something which kind of blends stabilizing and also growing is reconnecting with people from your past. Now, I'm not talking about previous exes. I'm certainly not talking about your current ex. Like I said, if you've been dumped, you should probably never contact them again unless they contact you first. But what I'm talking about is when you're in a relationship, sometimes you start to lose touch with people who was in your life previously. Maybe it was a good friend, maybe it was a family member. This can be a wonderful time to touch base with that person. Send them a text, get in contact, have a conversation. Not only will this grow yourself in a way where you can rebuild a connection, but if you're speaking with somebody that you lost touch with over the relationship, they're not necessarily going to know everything that's happened between you and your now ex. And I believe that can be really, really helpful for stabilizing yourself. You don't want to always be speaking about the breakup, and therefore if you can talk to somebody who didn't really even know your ex very well, didn't really know about your relationship too much because you started to drift away from this person when you was in a relationship, this could be a great person to reach out to. Start to rebuild that connection. You don't know how they're living their life right now. You know, they might be doing activities, etc., that you didn't do before when you knew them better. And therefore, maybe touching base could enable them to invite you along to something. Again, this is a new possibility of growing as a person, new experiences, growing in every single way, becoming a better person today than you were yesterday and a better person tomorrow than you are currently today. Plant these seeds, send these texts. You don't know what this might eventually mean. I'll give you an example. Let's just say you reach out to a friend, somebody you haven't really spoke to in a year or so because you was in a relationship and you were very much involved in that. Maybe they was in a relationship at the time as well. And perhaps you found out that they have also recently broken up and now they're single. So maybe you're both single, you touch base, you reconnect as friends. And what you don't realise right now is that because you've reconnected, they are going to invite you to a housewarming party in a few months' time. You go to this housewarming party, and who do you meet? The next love of your life. You don't know what the future holds. So plant these seeds. The connections you build now could pay dividend in the future, one way or the other. So grow as a person, self-improvement, make new connections, plant seeds, and grow. So now let's get into point number 3 and the final point of today's podcast about steps to take after being dumped. And point number 3 is enjoy your results. So I believe luck is where preparation meets opportunity. If you've gone through point number 1 and point number 2, you are preparing. This means you are prepared. This means you are ready. This means you can look forward to the future knowing that if and when the opportunity arises, you will be ready. And if you're wondering how this can connect with you and your specific situation, then you may want to consider my audio coaching service, where you can speak one-on-one about your specific scenario. If you would like me to be your coach and your teammate, please go to my website www.dateme.tips for more details of my audio coaching service. You can enjoy your results because you will know that you've put in the work. The harder you work, the luckier you become. If you have a stable mindset, if you've made new connections, if you've become a version 2.0 of yourself, you will win. You will either get your ex back or you will find somebody even better because your attraction net would have grown. You'll be a more attractive, dateable option to your ex. You'll be a more attractive, dateable option compared to other people for someone new. And you will have the opportunity to enjoy the happiness that you deserve. I can't guarantee you'll get your ex back, but you will be increasing your chance of success if you are ready. There's nothing worse than one day hearing from your ex when you least expect it and think, oh gosh, I haven't put in the work. You know, the last time my ex saw me, I was relatively fit and healthy. I've just let myself go in these few months. Now they reached out to me. They want to meet up. I look terrible. Okay, don't let this happen to you. Put in the work. Exercise. Eat healthy. Get enough sleep. Remove bad substances from your life. Improve your skill set. These are the things which will enable you to take that opportunity if and when it arises. Like I said, it might not be your ex. You might meet somebody new. It could be at that housewarming party that I suggested and referred to earlier. But you need to be prepared, because if you're not prepared, you will not be able to take that opportunity. And that is what a lot of lucky people are. They are prepared. It's not coincidence most of the time. Put in the work and enjoy your results. If you believe that this podcast has helped you, then please consider buying me a coffee. The link to do so is in the description.